Signal 712, the broadcast that knew their names. If your radio ever turns itself on, do not answer it. If a signal calls you by name, treat it like you would a stranger at your front door in the middle of the night. This is not a story about legends or rumors. This is about transmissions that appeared in real logs, in real recordings, and in places where no registered tower exists. It is about an alert tone you already know by heart, the one you have heard during storms and national tests, except this time it did not tell people to stay safe. It told them that something was already here. And it did not stay general or anonymous. It spoke names, full names. If that ever happens to you, the rule is simple. Do not speak back. Tonight, this is a story about a broadcast the officials say did not happen, a signal that should not exist, and a list of names that were never supposed to be spoken out loud. In the winter of 2017, the airwaves in the Midwest were not just carrying static, they were carrying recognition. February 19th, 2017, at 4:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Most of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and parts of West Virginia were half asleep under cold rain. Highways were empty, sidewalks shining with water, neighborhoods quiet. Then car radios and home weather radios switched on by themselves, not from alarms, not from station scanning. They simply came alive. The familiar emergency alert tone filled the air. Long, rising, mechanical. Except something was off. There was no storm warning, no evacuation order, no test notice. The voice that followed sounded like a person trying to act like a machine, flat but shaking under the surface. It said, "Remain inside. Do not approach the edges. We are already here." Then 30 seconds of silence, followed by another sentence. "Count who is missing." The tone stretched again and glitched into static that sounded too alive, like slow breathing behind a wall. By morning, people were confused but ready to shrug it off as a glitch. Then the strange part appeared. Radio station engineers checked logs and found blank spaces where the alert should be. No activation records, no digital footprint, no sign it had ever been broadcast. Yet dozens of people had recordings saved on phones and old cassette radios. And buried under the alert tone was another faint signal repeating the same pattern of digits. 712, 712, 712. A frequency nobody had registered, a transmission nobody claimed. This is where the story truly begins. There is a special type of night listener in America. Amateur radio operators, shortwave hobbyists, the people who listen to static the way others listen to music. 3 of them, in different states, picked up the alert tone and the hidden transmission underneath. Their logs matched to the second. Youngstown, Ohio at 4:12:37 a.m. Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania at 4:12:39 a.m. Wheeling, West Virginia at 4:12:40 a.m. Each wrote the same thing in ink. Unknown origin. Human voice under digits. One of them, a retired trucker named Alan, did what he always did when something was strange. He tuned beyond the alert tone and chased the whisper underneath. He found it at 7.127 megahertz and labeled it in his notebook as Signal 712. What he heard next has never been officially explained. Number stations are real. They exist on shortwave radio and repeat-coded digits, usually believed to be for encrypted communication. But Signal 712 was different. It cycled through 3 beeps, a hiss, a string of coordinates, and then a full first and last name spoken clearly. The first night there were 4 names, all of them later verified as real missing persons from several states. None had been in the news that week. Some cases had been cold for years. Then the signal repeated and added a final sentence. "We have 3. One is resisting." Outside, wind pushed icy rain across Alan's yard and rattled his metal antenna. The static felt thicker than normal, like air pressure building. He wrote every name down, double-checked the spelling, searched public records later, and felt his hands shake when they all matched. This was no random list. Someone or something was broadcasting names of people who were already gone. By the 3rd night, the signal began to move. Its strength rose and fell in a way that did not match a fixed tower. It behaved like something traveling across land at walking or slow-driving speed. Radio forum users traded screenshots and timestamps. Someone sent everything to regional FCC offices. Triangulation attempts pointed to places where no tower existed. Empty state forest in north-central Pennsylvania at one moment, open fields outside Findlay, Ohio at another. One official note stated, apparent mobile origin unable to validate. Off the record, an investigator emailed a line to a colleague. It knows who is listening. The message was later deleted, but a printed copy still exists in a drawer. On March 2, 2017 at 4:03 a.m., fog was crawling low over interstate pavement, gathering around streetlights like halos. The emergency alert tone returned. This time a different voice spoke. It sounded younger, strained, like someone reading from a card in a room they did not want to be in. Remain indoors, windows covered. Do not respond when addressed. Then the voice moved closer to the microphone and spoke a single name. Not a list, one name. Allen's, first and last, then his street name, then the names of two people he lived with who had moved in recently and were not listed anywhere public yet. His radio scanner lights surged bright as if something nearby was transmitting straight into it. Under the static, he heard faint crunching sounds like steps on gravel. The broadcast ended with the same phrase, count who is missing. Allen tried calling another operator he knew in Indiana. The call never rang. His own voicemail answered instead. When he checked the recording, buried under cellular hiss was the emergency alert tone and slow human breathing. Over the next 11 days, Signal 712 appeared across multiple states, North Dakota Plains, rural Montana, northern Ohio, a brief presence over Lake Erie. The sequence never changed. Random alert tone. Instructions not to go outside. We are already here. Then names. At first, not every name matched a missing person case. Later, some did. There were no graphic scenes, no confirmed physical confrontation. People were simply reported gone. Last seen walking to their car. House lights still on. Coffee still warm. Front door locked from the inside. Local reports avoided mentioning the broadcasts. Public statements used phrases like unrelated circumstances and equipment malfunction. But notebooks and recordings kept stacking up, and the signal kept learning new names faster. On April 9, 2017 at 3:17 a.m. Central Time, light snow out of season drifted over fields near Bismarck, North Dakota. Static rolled across the antennas like slow waves. Signal 712 returned stronger than ever. No beeps, just a flat tone. Then a voice that sounded calm and close, no longer pretending to be automated at all. Stop counting. You have been heard. Then one final list of names, not missing persons, not public record names. They were usernames from the private radio forum where people had been sharing recordings of the signal, spoken clearly, pronounced perfectly. The voice paused as if waiting. Then it said, "We are finished retrieving. One remains." The one documenting this. Soft rhythmic tapping followed, like someone gently knocking near a microphone. Then the frequency went silent. Emergency alerts returned to normal test cycles. Stations denied everything. The radio forum went offline overnight, and archive copies were corrupted with gray noise patterns that looked overwritten. Waveforms broke and repeated like something erased itself. Here is what remains verifiable. Listener recordings exist. Operator notebooks match across states. FCC regional logs show blank time blocks where alerts should have been. Some names spoken later appeared on real missing persons lists. Here is what is not officially acknowledged. The broadcast spoke back. It shifted from lists to direct address. It used locations accurately. It paired with alerts officially labeled malfunction, despite the lack of technical evidence. There were no graphic scenes, no confirmed physical confrontation, just people who were there at one moment and unaccounted for later, and airwaves that seemed to recognize those who listened too closely. Right now, while you hear this, your phone, your car system, and the small smart speakers in homes all contain radios inside them. Most of the time, they filter stray signals. Most of the time, they stay quiet. Sometimes people report weather radios waking at 3:17 a.m. with no displayed alert code. Car radios turning on with keys removed. Voices repeating the digits 712. And sometimes, after the tone, a voice says, "Remain inside. Do not approach the edges. If that ever happens to you, do not reply to it. Do not speak your name out loud. Do not start counting who is missing. Because everything we have left from Signal 712 suggests that the final thing it needs in order to finish its list is confirmation from the listener.